a strange tearing sound in the air, like paper being ripped again and again. Her muscles ached as she pushed herself up. She was in what looked like a generic hotel room, bright in beige walls, big screen, TV shaded windows. You're in Oslo. Dan was sitting at a desk across the room. As he turned to him, a scrap of paper fell from his hands into a trash can by his feet. How Amy began recoiling from the pain of what felt like grounded glass in her throat. The boat captain got Altoboro on the radio. He said, his voice a flat line. Sorry if I said that wrong. Just to let you know. They sent a helicopter to pick me up, and then they came to get you. So you really were there, Amy said, almost to herself. That was you. If we gotten there a few minutes later, you would have been dead. Instead of relief in Dan's voice, Amy thought. She heard something harder, like an accusation. Her arms were weak, but she managed to haul down filled comforter off. She recoiled at the sight of herself. Her legs were covered in ugly purple bruises, and so were her arms and her sides. The tips of 3 fingers were numb beneath white bandages. We need to get moving, she said, trying not to groan as she pushed herself to the edge of the bed. We can still get the seeds and tons, maybe if we... A plastic bag rattled as it flew across the room and landed on the bed. It was full of small tan seeds. She looked up at Dan. How actors and Jake are playing to tennis. They tracked the seeds down to their dad's friends. Everyone's okay. Dan said nothing, just nodded. He wasn't even looking at her. Dan, explain how you could do something so completely insane, Dan said, exploding out of his chair, his face red with anger. Do you have any idea how worried all of us were? You could have gotten yourself killed. I did what I thought was best, Amy said, trying to control what was building up inside her. I'm the leader of the... Don't give me that leader of the Cahel's junk. Daniel, we work together, we always have. Everything good we've ever accomplished, we accomplished together. Then why are you leaving? Amy's cry felt like it was ripped from the very center of her. It battered the walls off the small room. I saw those brochures, Dan, the ones you've been hiding from me. What? It's okay for you to go off on your own, but not me. Dan's face was so red it looked as if it was burning. I told you I was going after this is over. After. Amy couldn't control the tears coursing down her cheeks. This is never going to be over. You said that yourself. After we deal with Pierce, someone else will come along, and then there will be someone else after that. If you want to leave so badly, go now. Is that what you want, Amy? You want me to leave? Want all of us to leave? Didn't almost dying out there show you how crazy that was? Dan waited for a response, but it was a long time coming. You can't have it both ways, Dan, Amy said, her voice so quiet you could barely hear it. Dan couldn't meet his sister's eyes. I called Jake and Actus, he said. They're meeting us here in Oslo tomorrow. Once we make a plan, we're all heading to Guatemala together. Amy wanted to protest, but she didn't have the strength. She nodded weakly. Dan reached into his check pocket and tossed a new phone across the room onto Amy's bed. From Pony, he said, to replace the one you lost in the fog. He also wanted me to tell you he's sorry for what he said. There must have been something wrong with the network. He was waiting at his computer the whole time he warned surfboard, but he never heard from you. Amy frowned. I don't understand. Pony's the one who got me out. Dan shook his head. He said he never heard from you, but that's not possible. If I wasn't talking to him, then who? Dan shook his head and started for the door. Dan, wait, please. He stopped with his back to her, one hand on the doorknob. Amy remembered the pro seals in his bag. Each one filled with boys his age, laughing and smiling carefree. Evan had so many plans, he said softly, a tremble in her voice. Did you know that he and his dad were going to take a year off together after he graduated high school? They were going to go to South America and help build houses for people who needed them. After that, they were going to go meet his mom in China because they always dreamed of seeing the Great Wall. They had no idea that the words caught in Amy's throat, too big and too terrible to pass. I want all of you to be happy, you and Jake and Actus and all the others. I don't want this for you. I don't want this for anybody, but you should go right now, Dan, before it's too late. Dan seemed about to say something, but he didn't. He opened the door and stepped into the hall. Dan, wait, The door closed behind him with a slap. The silence in the hotel room settled heavily on Amy's shoulders. She looked away from the door and noticed that Dan had dragged the trash can out from under the desk. She remembered the sound of tearing paper and got herself out of the bed and went over to it. Inside there was a crumpled ball of paper streaked with blue and yellow and candy apple red. Scraps of paper blew out of her hands and onto the floor as she unfolded it, like the feathers of some small, brilliantly colored bird. Dan's bow seals, each one was its bold colors and smiling. Light-hearted boys had been torn in half and then torn again. Amy's heart broke looking down at them. She knew part of her should have been glad, but suddenly the soft hand stain made her ache worse than the thought of him leaving her head. There was a soft ding behind her. Amy flipped over her new phone and saw an email waiting to be read. It was from Jake. She stared at it for a long time, her stomach turning before she finally worked up the nerve to click on it. Amy, I don't think there's much to say or anything that Dan probably hasn't said already, but there's one thing I had to get off my chest. First off, Actus and I are glad you're okay. We were all pretty mad when you took off without us, but that was because we were terrified. None of us know what we'd do if anything happened to you. I want you to know that I'm not going to stop trying to help you fight Pierce. But accept what you said before you left. I want you to know that I agree there was never anything between us and there never will be. Don't waste any more time worrying about feelings that neither of us ever had, Jake. Amy closed the email, then sat without moving. For some time she looked around at the stark walls of the room, and for a moment she felt like she was back in the vault, trapped and alone. Amy hit reply and started to type. Jake, only said what I did because if you knew how I really felt, you would have pulled that plane out of the sky before you let me go off alone, and I'd rather you hate me and live than die because you care. I couldn't forgive myself if you or Actus were hurt, but I'm tired of lying, and the truth is there's no one I'd rather fight with, no one I'd rather be infuriated than you. Dan said that the best things any of us have ever accomplished, we accomplished together. That's true for me and you as well. Amy stared at the message, thinking of how Jake teased her on the prints and tennises in his face as he boarded the plane. She highlighted the email and hit delete. Once the email was gone, she moved to her browser and typed in Guatemala and Reverend Crystal. A long list of hits came up and she moved through them one by one, examining each, making lists of notes, losing herself in the resource pile.